How can you purchase a home with a ridiculously low interest rate in 2023 or 2024? The answer is simple. The answer is something called a 3-2-1 buy down or a 2-1 buy down. On today's episode, we're specifically discussing the 3-2-1 buy down. So what is a 3-2-1 buy down and how can it benefit you? A 3-2-1 buy down is where you as the borrower pays less than a normal interest rate for the first 3 years of the loan. Hey there and welcome to my channel. This is a channel where we discuss all things real estate. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a fifth-time home buyer, a real estate investor, an aspiring real estate agent, or someone who's looking to sell your home, you have come to the right place. If you find my content valuable or entertaining, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button to be notified of any newly released content. So let's go ahead and get into today's topic. 3-2-1 buy downs. How can a 3-2-1 buy down benefit a buyer in today's market? Well, a 3-2-1 buy down is designed to help buyers get into homes when interest rates are high enough to discourage a home purchase. So in today's market, we know that interest rates are hovering right around 8%. So let's take a look at a live example and see how this can benefit you as a home buyer.
All right, so right here we have a 3-2-1 buy down calculator. It was originally a 2-1 buy down calculator. One of my phenomenal lenders made this for me when 2-1 buy downs first started being a thing. So right now I'm zeroing everything out so we can start from scratch. So right here we're going to start with the purchase price. So for example, let's say you want to qualify for a $350,000 home. So we'll go ahead and put in $350,000. Next, let's say you are using an FHA loan, so you're going to put down 3.5%. Okay, and then you see your loan amount changes. Now, let's say estimated mortgage interest rate. For today's market, we are going to put 8%. Okay. Now, this is your principal and interest monthly payment. This does not include taxes or insurance. So for today's example, the number that you see here, we will have to add an additional $350 to include taxes and insurance. So we'll get a total number at the end. So with the 3-2-1 buy down, year one, the rate drops down to 5%. That's the 3 of the 3-2-1 buy down. So it drops from 8% to 5%, 8% to 5%. Now, year two, it graduates from 5% up to 6%. So we'll type in the 6%. And notice it is 2% lower than the original 8%. So for year three, it's going to graduate up to 7%. And notice that it's 1 point lower than the original interest rate of 8%. Now, years 4 through 30, it graduates to the 8%. So let's look at the payment of what it would be. So for year one, at a 5% interest rate for a $350,000 house, it would be $1,813. Remember, we have to add an additional $350 to include taxes and insurance so you can have the full pity payment. For year two, it's going to be $2,024.98, and that's just your principal and interest monthly payment. Remember, we'll add on an additional $350, and then for year three, it'll be $2,247.06. Remember, we'll add on an additional $350 to give you your pity payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And for years 4 through 30, it graduates to $2,478.29. Now, typically the 3-2-1 buy down has to be paid for by the seller in most cases. So this is the amount that we would have to ask the seller to give you in order for you to qualify for the 3-2-1 buy down. The seller then pays that money at closing and is given to the lender. So what the seller is actually doing is paying your interest up front. So remember, this is key. Year one, it drops from 8% to 5% right here. Year two, it drops from Well, it goes from 5% to 6%, and you're still 2% lower in year 2. Year 3, it goes from 6% to 3%. And remember, this calculator does not include your taxes and insurance. So for today's example, once again, we are going to add an additional $350 to get your total monthly mortgage payment for this example.
Now, here are some very important things you need to know and understand about the 321 buy down. The 321 buy down is lender specific. This means that only certain lenders are offering the 321 buy down. Most of the time, it's your local lenders who are offering the 321 buy down or the 2-1 buy down. For example, I had a buyer who was pre-approved through Navy Federal. Well, after speaking with Navy Federal, they had never even heard of a 2-1 buy down at the time. So we ended up getting the buyer pre-approved through our local lender, which makes all the world of a difference. So this is why I will always say it's important to choose your lender carefully. Local lenders can help out with programs such as 321 buy downs, 2-1 buy downs. They can also provide programs to get you some down payment assistance as a first-time home buyer. So make sure you keep that in mind. It is lender specific. Now, another thing to remember and understand is that the 321 buy down has to be paid for by the seller in most cases. Do you remember the example on the calculator? It said seller credit. That means that the seller has to pay for that. So make sure you understand that as you're getting into the market and trying to get a 321 buy down. Now, one last important thing, this is very important. You have to qualify for your home purchase at the higher interest rate. So using the example again, you have to qualify for the home at the 8% interest rate. Once you qualify, then we go into the market and try to find a home to where a seller will be willing to give you the credit for the 321 buy down. That is a very important piece to understanding the 321 buy down. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of a 321 buy down. I want to end on a positive note, so we'll start with the cons of the 321 buy down. Now, one very important thing when it comes to the cons of 321 buy downs, this is a major key that you have to understand. If interest rates do not drop during that first 3 period in which your interest rate is lowered, and you can't refinance, then you have to prepare yourself to make that 8% mortgage payment. There is no way around it. These lenders, they will want their money, rain, sleet, snow, sunshine, cloudy, it doesn't matter. So you have to be prepared in case interest rates do not drop, that you will have to make that mortgage payment at the 8% interest rate until you can refinance at a lower interest rate. Now, another con, this is important to remember as well. If you purchased the home and got the 321 buy down and you purchased it in hopes of getting a higher income, let's say you say, well, I know I'm going to get a raise over the next 3 years, and by the time that raise takes place, I'll be able to afford the 8% mortgage. Well, if you didn't get that raise, guess what? Then you've set yourself up for the ultimate failure. You've purchased the home that you cannot afford. So please tread carefully. Make sure you understand exactly what you're getting into when you are going after the 321 buy down. It's very important to understand the numbers. That's why you need to team up with your realtor and your lender and make sure everything is on track and make sure that you can afford that payment as it rises over the next 3 years if you do not refinance. Now, let's talk about some pros of the 321 buy down. The first pro, you can refinance during that first 3-year period if interest rates drop. So for the example, we know we started at an 8% interest rate. Let's say interest rates drop to 6% during that first year and you want to go ahead and refinance and lock in that interest rate. Well, that's something that you can do. That is a very good pro of the 321 buy down. This is also great for buyers who expect to have a higher income in the future. Let's say, like I said before in the con, you're expecting a raise. Well, if you do get that raise, that is a really good thing for you. Another big con is a 321 buy down is actually way less risky than an adjustable rate mortgage, also known as an ARM mortgage. We'll talk about adjustable rate mortgages in another video. Now, another good thing about the 321 buy down is during those first 3 years, whenever you're saving your money as a buyer, you can save that money for expenses such as remodeling or repairs on your home. So that's something to keep in mind when you are searching for an option such as the 3-2-1 buy down. Now, another pro to the 3-2-1 buy down, this is for the sellers. It can help you sell your home faster if you are offering a buy down as a part of your selling process. Be sure to talk to a trusted realtor about this. Now, the number one pro, in my opinion, is that this is an attractive option for buyers who are battling high interest rates. I'll say higher interest rates, not necessarily high, because we know interest rates have been well over 8% in history, but it's an attractive option for buyers who are battling higher interest rate, such as the majority of people in today's market. So that wraps up today's topic on 3-2-1 buy downs. I hope this video was helpful and valuable for you. If you did find it helpful and valuable, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. That way you'll be notified when new content comes out. Your support means the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.